Even though sound can't travel through space, the universe is always speaking to us. Every moon, planet, and solar system has its own language and sounds. We learn about more and more of them as we keep exploring space. But not all these sounds are nice and make people feel welcome. The human ear is made to translate sound waves, which are changing pressures moving through a medium. Without the medium, these waves of sound can't be heard. And since there is no air in space, sound waves can't travel through it. But radio waves and many other types of waves can still pass through a vacuum. We can still understand the sounds that the universe throws at us thanks to radio and other waves that work in a vacuum. Today, we'll talk about NASA captures the most chilling sounds in space. But before we start our discussion, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon. In the last 20 years, unmanned devices have taken us to the farthest parts of our solar system. A few of these devices have crossed that line and are now listening to the voices from other stars. But are we supposed to hear these noises? The shy little red planet whose orbit is next to Earth's, and which we have been looking at for a long time as our next home. Mars wasn't as lucky as Earth when the Sun chose a planet to be in the Goldilocks zone. As a result, Mars just missed it and lost its weak environment completely. Now, the inside of Mars is a lot quieter than the inside of Earth. But that doesn't mean that everything is calm. Under the surface of Mars, quakes happen all the time. NASA sent the InSight lander to Mars in 2018 to give it its first thorough checkup since it was made 4.5 billion years ago. It had a seismometer with it so it could record information about seismic activity. In 2019, the sounds came from the vibrations in the ground that InSight picked up from 3 different things: the wind on Mars, a Mars quake, and the spacecraft Zone robotic arm moving to take a picture. When we hear this sound, we think of the strange sounds that the monoliths in Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey made. Before we play this sound, we need to say something important. The sound you are about to hear is not only unpleasant, but it is also an audio version of a graph of the Voyager's plasma wave science observations from several months in 2012 to 2013. Scientists think that Voyager left our solar system around the time that these readings showed. Heliopause, so it was the first sound we heard from outside of our solar system, even though it was just data. But it's not as beautiful or exciting as one might think. Instead, it's very loud and scary. Could this mean we were never supposed to leave our house? Saturn gets its name from the Roman god of the sea. Long before Voyager left the solar system to explore the vast universe on its own, it did us a huge favor by studying every cosmic object in our solar system that it could reach on its way out. This gave us information that we didn't have before. Voyager was the first spacecraft to show that there was lightning inside Saturn. But Cassini was the one who proved for sure that the big blue giant of our solar system was named after the god of storms. In 2006, Cassini recorded staticky crackles in radio waves that showed how chaotic the area was deep below Saturn's clouds. These sounds really are the wrath of God. Another amazing thing that Cassini recorded was what it sounds like to go through Saturn's rings. 10 years after he took the picture of Saturn's storm, Cassini showed us what it would be like to fly through Saturn's dangerous rings. The static you hear was recorded by Cassini's radio and plasma wave science instrument as it crossed the plane of Saturn's rings in December 2016. This is as close as we can ever get to imagining what Han Solo's life was like in Kessel Run. Jupiter is our solar system's big brother. It keeps the system in balance by protecting small planets in the inner orbits, like Earth, from dangerous comets and other threats from beyond our solar system. It is named after the king of the ancient Roman gods, Jupiter, and is a gas giant that almost became the second star in our solar system. To be exact, it's a brown dwarf. Since there are so many interesting things going on in the world, it's only natural that we're always interested. Cassini did a great job. We got to hear what a god sounds like in January 2001. During its historic 20-year journey to Saturn, Cassini had to stop near Jupiter to get a boost from the planet's gravity. This helped it finish its journey. During this time, Cassini picked up these strange radio signals from Jupiter that sounded like they came from another world. So it makes sense that the ancient Roman god of thunder lived in a place where storms were always brewing. But we hadn't heard Jupiter before this loud and exciting sound. When the Voyager went by Jupiter, it was lucky enough to catch the bow shock, which is Jupiter's answer to the Sun. Here's a simple explanation if you don't know what it is. Solar wind, which is charged and comes from the Sun, can be pushed away by a strong magnetic force, like the magnetic field of a large planet. When the solar wind hits the strong magnetic force that surrounds a planet, it gets pushed away, and all of its motion energy is turned into heat. This charged area is called a bow shock. It sounds like the Earth is letting off some steam. This audio is very scary, like a pressure cooker, and it might remind you of some of the scariest parts of horror movies. The latest thing we've heard from Jupiter is called the Groovy Track, which is a nice name. But don't let the name fool you. NASA got it in February 2017 with the Juno spacecraft, which was named after the wife of Jupiter in ancient Rome. The sound that Juno recorded was made by plasma waves in Jupiter's ionosphere. Again, this one would remind you of the technology of the beings from the fourth dimension who were thought to be the ones who helped humans evolve. Since the wormhole in the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey was close to Jupiter. This is not a coincidence. Galileo was sent into space in 1989 to study Jupiter, its moons, and the asteroids Gaspara and Ida. Galileo had sensors to track the particles and fields of the solar wind in interplanetary space and then in Jupiter's magnetosphere. It also had a scanned platform with 4 optical instruments. During 2 passes through the asteroid belt, the spacecraft had a high-resolution camera, a near-infrared mapping spectrometer, an ultraviolet spectrometer, an integrated photopolarimeter, and a radiometer. Galileo flew by the asteroids Gaspara in 1991 and Ida in 1993. This was the first time that such bodies were seen up close. It also found a tiny satellite called Dactyl that was going around Ida. Galileo also gave a unique view of Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9's collision with Jupiter in July of 1994, when it was getting close to the planet. Over the next 5 years, Galileo made a series of orbits that brought it close to Jupiter's moons Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto, which were the 4th largest. Scientists were looking at the Galilean moons when they noticed some very strange plasma waves. This turned out to be proof that these moons have their own magnetospheres. A magnetosphere is the area of space around a celestial body where the magnetic field of that body, or the magnetic field of interplanetary space, is stronger than any other magnetic field. This discovery also showed that these moons are in a constant magnetic battle with their host planet, Jupiter. The violent sounds you are about to hear come from Ganymede, Europa, and Callisto's magnetospheres. Callisto's magnetosphere is the weakest of Jupiter's 4 major moons. Not only are these sounds very scary, but they are also very violent and dangerous. The Sun is the source of energy for everything in the solar system. Everything moves, eats, and does things because of the energy it gives off, either directly or indirectly. Any machine on Earth that makes energy tends to make a humming sound. A device uses energy and sends it where it needs to go by changing it from one form to another. As the device's parts move, waves move along with them. And when waves go through something, they make sound. Misa took the waves moving and bouncing inside the Sun and turned them into sounds so we can hear what goes on inside the cosmic powerhouse of a star. And spooky. Its low-frequency version isn't very different from a generator or any other machine that makes electricity. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching and see you next time.